Let's look at the 2023 MLB season. Why were teams being eliminated early on, such as the Atlanta Braves? They had a top lineup all season long with multiple MVP candidates and a player who had an all-time historical season. Yet somehow, this team struggled badly whenever it came into the playoffs. What did they not have? Well, first of all, the offense slumped, and whenever the offense slumps for Atlanta, it's like their entire heart is stopping. They rely on scoring runs, not preventing them, and the lack of pitching was a main worry with the team going into the postseason. Or here, look at the Diamondbacks. They were on the complete other side of the spectrum with a team that had an all-time story. They were able to pitch so well with Gallen, Kelly, and Fott. It was a great rotation, and great rotations can get you very far. If you don't have the pitching in the postseason, you will not be going places, and this is where the Mariners come in. This team has not gone anywhere, don't get me wrong, but they've completely built their identity off of one thing. And that one thing is preventing runs, and being better at that than anyone else. Their pitching development has been better than any team in recent history. But then, on the other hand, their offense hasn't been nearly quite as good. So they decided to go and shake some things up this offseason. They saw that the lineup was striking out a lot, and that was something that they really wanted to focus on so that they could generate more runs. And it all began by having a plan. Who do you get rid of? Who was generating a ton of strikeouts? First order of business, letting Teoscar Hernandez walk. Second order of business was trading Suarez in the last year of his contract. And this accomplished one thing. It got rid of the strikeouts, but at the same time, these players also were very good righty bats. So how are you actually going to be replacing them? Well, on Christmas Eve, they made their first big move by signing Mitch Garver to be their DH. Someone who walks frequently, hits the ball frequently, and has good power. Garver gives you the full-time package at DH. Last season, they had the 12th ranked offense in the league. And it doesn't sound bad, but it really could have been much better. They ranked number 2 in MLB for strikeouts with a total of 1,600 in 2023. Ultimately, getting those strikeouts down should generate more runs for the team. But the Mariners front office didn't appear quite satisfied yet. There were rumors that they could be open to trading one of their many pitchers. They have Castillo, Gilbert, Kirby, Miller, and Wu. All of them who are of course under contract for several years. It's a perfect situation for a perfect rotation. But trading one of those arms would mean that your rotation gets weaker. They were in trade talks with Twins second baseman Jorge Polanco. He's someone who had a lot of success in the past, and Mariners were very interested. The only problem is that the asking price was very high. It was Bryce Miller. Miller was the Mariners' number 2 prospect when he was called up in May. He came straight from Double-A, and he actually performed very well considering that circumstance, making a very good first impression for the fans of Seattle. Now, unfortunately, he of course had wrinkles along the way, finishing the season with a .432 ERA. But with how this Mariners pitching development is, it will not be a surprise whenever he is a star in the future. And I'm not the only one who thinks that. Superstar center fielder Julio Rodriguez said the same exact thing. The only difference is that I'm saying it to a YouTube audience, and he actually told that to the Mariners front office. He told them straight up that they should no doubt about it keep Miller and keep Bryan Wu, which I agree. Keep the young guys and build around them. Don't create another hole by adding another player. The Mariners front office apparently agreed, as they ended up working out this deal with the Twins, but it did not include any young pitcher. So in the end, they kept both pitchers, and it's very fair to assume that J-Rod played a very big part in keeping those guys around. So yeah, they improved offensively this offseason by adding Polanco and Garver. Rodriguez was actually recently asked what he believes that Wu and Miller bring to the table. He said, "I mean, they're electric. They have different pitches, but they're both similar in a lot of ways. They could blow it by anybody. I definitely see myself playing with them for a long time. We're all young, and we all knew each other coming up the system, and it feels really good to have the same core of players. You know what you're going to get from them. They are who they are, and they're really good people to have in your team." So clearly, Rodriguez thinks very highly of these players, and he understands that how important that it actually is to have good players all around at every position. In fact, they traded veteran Robbie Ray for Mitch Haniger earlier in the offseason. Again, filling in those holes and having a complete team. They hope that they can get him back to his form that he once was back in 2021, where he was of course a star with Seattle. I believe that this change of scenery, returning to Seattle, could be the thing that gets him reignited. Overall, I like what the Mariners are doing, but there's still one major problem that they have yet to address. Free agency is filled with talent, and they currently do not have a set-in-stone player at third base. And one of the best defensive third basemen in baseball is available. Matt Chapman is just sitting around, waiting for someone to pay him. And honestly, the Mariners make way too much sense. I mean, this team is ready to be competitive, they're ready to win. Why not go and add more talent for a position that you really have nothing on? But unfortunately, it does not appear that they are willing to go and pay Chapman. The Mariners GM recently said this: "Our roster feels pretty set right now. I don't want to rule anything out, but I think it's very likely that the core group that we have right now remains the core group. There's likely not a big ad over the next couple weeks." And here's my counter. What in the world is set at third base? Will it be Brian Anderson? I hope not, for the sake of Mariners fans' eyeballs. He's awful. And that isn't even the only thing. There's another player on the market who wants to be a Mariner bad. Does the name Blake Snell ring a bell? You know, the guy coming off the Cy Young year? He would boost the Mariners rotation significantly. He's always been a Seattle fan. I mean, he grew up there. Why not go and make this signing? No other team is interested outside of the Yankees, and they only offered him one contract. But instead, they're choosing the route of keeping the roster as it is. It'll be really tough for them to keep up with the Astros and the Rangers. But at the very least, they got rid of strikeouts and they kept their pitching. It's all on them now, and it's all on what happens on the field. Anyways, please subscribe if you did enjoy. If not, thanks for watching anyway, and peace out.